it's Liz here. Sorry, this camera's shaking a bit. Got it on a tripod today, so I don't have to hold it. And hopefully it's the right way up for once. So I'm doing an update. I'm obviously sitting up without my collar, which is a good thing. But as you can see, all of this is still very swollen under here. So it's been nearly 4 weeks, coming up 4 weeks, since I was discharged from hospital. It's been really tough the first couple of weeks because my discharge letter apparently didn't get through to my GP, and my GP is refusing to prescribe the paracetamol suspension, so we're having to buy it still. I took it to the CCG even and explained to them, and they basically contacted the doctor, and the GP who actually declined it doesn't even know me, isn't my usual GP. And they said they spoke to my gastro doctor at hospital, who said that paracetamol tablets and paracetamol suspension is the same and it works the same, and they have no reason that I should not be able to have the tablets. So I've written about arguing that it's affected my mental health, it's affected my physical health as well, because I was in hospital for pain relief and to figure out what was going on. They diagnosed the TMJ. I'm waiting for scans and lip biopsies for the Sjögren's and my stomach and stuff as well. So it's been really tough, and so it's crazy because, for example, not everything suits people, because, like, as you know, I had at least 4 months before I went into hospital of pain every day and constant headache, and it was horrific. And I was taking paracetamol tablets 4 times a day every day, and it didn't help at all. And then in hospital they tried lots of different medications, and I didn't even know what I was taking. And then one worked, and I realised after 2 or 3 days, wow, I just realised I've not been in pain for 2 days. I'll show you what I take now. So this is, you can buy this at any chemist. It's for children, but it's the 6+ paracetamol. It's basically Calpol, but this is their own brand. We did actually get the Boots version originally, and it was like £5 something for a bottle, and it only lasts 2 days. Well, 2.5 days these bottles last me. But this is from an independent chemist, and it's only £3. Also, it comes with a spoon, but I have a special lid that the hospital gave me, which most people have for enteral feeding. So it's like a purple capsule thingy, and then I just stick the syringe I have into the top. And these are 10ml syringes, which are much better, because the ones that come with the Boots ones are tiny syringes for kids, which only can hold up to 5 mils, and I need 20 mils 4 times a day. So I need like 4 syringefuls, and sometimes I lose count of how much I've had. And also, it's horrible taste. It's supposed to be strawberry flavour, and it tastes to me like vodka. It's so strong, alcohol taste, and it keeps catching the back of my throat. And so in the last 2-3 weeks, I literally have had no pain in my neck. Well, sometimes, but my face pain's gone and my headaches have gone. And so I've argued with the CCG and the GP that why can they not consider other factors, because not everything always works. So, for example, I also take, in liquid form, carbocysteine, and this is for my chest because I have bad asthma and allergies, Marcel disease, all that, and I get a lot of mucus. And I was prescribed carbocysteine tablets about 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, with my sinus issues I was having. And within about 12 hours, I was like projectile vomiting. It was horrible. And I knew, because I'd had nothing else, no new foods, it was the tablets. And I did look them up, and it had a really high content of lactose, which binds the tablet together, and I'm lactose intolerant. And that's what happens when I have anything with lactose in, is that I'm very sick and I get diarrhea and pain in my stomach. So they prescribed these, which are basically the same medication but in a sachet, and it's liquid, and I have 2 of those a day. And they were fine to prescribe that. So I really don't see why prescribing the paracetamol should be any different. it's got me down mentally. Originally, when they said they refused to prescribe it, I was literally like, well, what am I going to do? I can't afford to spend, that much money. Like, it's going to be... I already pay £10 a month for my prepayment card for my prescriptions, because I don't qualify for pre-prescriptions because my husband works and they think therefore we have all the money in the world, whereas he doesn't earn a lot. My benefits only cover my expenses and outgoings for bills and stuff, and it's crazy. So I don't know what to do. Like, my parents are buying this particular paracetamol stuff, but that lasts me 2.5 days. So to get me through a week, I need 3 bottles, and that's like £9 a week, and I'm paying £10 a month for my repeats. And the doctors are also saying it's too expensive to prescribe, but I'm just like, they don't care about my mental health. Like, when I found that out, I actually was so depressed that I tried to take all my diazepam tablets. I was on the edge. I was literally, what's the point of living if my GP won't help me, my hospital won't help, the doctors won't help, the CCG won't help. There's no one who's going to help. And so that was that. And when I came out of hospital, my parents have been amazing. They agreed to help because I've always found CBD oil works well. I'm really frustrated that the new laws on prescribing cannabis to patients with long-term chronic health issues, it's very limited to who can prescribe them and what conditions can be prescribed to. I've been watching with interest the programme on BBC Two about Parkinson's and the trials that they do on humans to try new medicines. And for example, there's 2 medications, one I'm not on at the moment, but I was on. Midodrine is prescribed for POTS, but originally it wasn't used for POTS. It was used for people with some kind of stomach issues. And I take Ivabradine for my heart rate because it's too high, so it brings it down. But that's usually used for heart failure patients. And neither of those are licensed for the use that I have them. But because my specialist prescribes them, my GP then has to honour that and prescribe them as well. So it's very frustrating because I can see that the very, very severely ill, like people who have epilepsy with, dozens and dozens of fits every day, that works for them. It works for cancer patients. But I was really surprised to hear yesterday that MS patients still are having trouble getting a prescription for cannabis, which is crazy because CBD oil works really well for me. But a lot of people say that the actual cannabis prescription is better because although CBD oil is legal, there's no THC in it, which is the illegal bit, which is the high. A small amount of THC will really help lift your pain. A lot of people with EDS have depression. It helps with that too. And I don't understand because it's very expensive to prescribe. But if you think about the people I do know who are on cannabis for their EDS, they've come off almost all of their medications, and all of those medications combined and the side effects that they get from them, and they have to take medications for the side effects, all of that combined is way more expensive than having the cannabis. So I don't get it really. But this is my CBD oil. I get it from the CBD, I don't know if it'll focus on that, CBD Brothers. You can Google them, but their website isn't called CBD Brothers anymore. I don't know why. That's not focusing. But this is the white edition CBD oil. This is, I've looked up, there's lots of different colours. They're not actually coloured, but they're different names. So, for example, purple is a different thing, and red's another one, and blue's another one. But white is quite strong. It's very good for pain relief. This is the tincture that you put under your tongue. This is very expensive. I mean, we could only afford to get the 10ml bottle, which is this one, and this cost about £65. If you want a bigger bottle, it's about £150. But this is the stuff. You can see the staining. That's the colour of it. It's a yellow colour, and you have a dropper, and you start off with 3 to 4 drops under your tongue a day. I won't put it out because it stains like crazy, but that's the the stuff. I only have it on my worst days, so for the last week I haven't taken it because this paracetamol suspension is working so well. So I have a follow-up phone appointment with my GP next Monday, and I'm just interested to see what his take on everything is, because since my last video I've also been to see my rheumatology doctor at Stanmore, and she was shocked by the change in me. She hasn't seen me for 3 years, and although things got better and then got worse and now they're much, much worse, she was baffled by why they haven't looked into the swelling under my neck, because I had the ultrasound in December, and she said that, I said they said in hospital they were going to redo it. That was February. She said, well, that's a 2-month gap. That's a wise idea to see what's going on. But luckily my ENT doctor said he was going to just do a CT scan of my sinuses to check the pain there. But they're also doing a CT scan of my neck, so hopefully it's going to show something, because she thinks it could be lymphedema. But I don't have, I mean, I have a bit of swelling on my ankles, but nowhere else. So it's weird that I've got this swelling. And she also thinks that the problems I've had since October could be a virus that I picked up from the flu jab. Now, my GP has flat out denied that the flu jab has anything to do with it, despite the fact my symptoms came on 4 or 5 days after I had it. So it's interesting to see her take on things. And so, yeah, it's been really tough going, but the last 2 weeks I felt a lot better. I'm on a higher dose of my antidepressant. I take metrazapine, which is you take at night, and I'm getting really good night sleeps, and my mood is a lot better, and I've got an appointment date for some counselling and things like that, because this whole experience from being, you know, A&E trying to send me home, the doctors being terrible in the hospital, and then since coming home everything's just been so crazy bad, and seeing how much the NHS is just failing me at every point I turn. And I'd considered the NHS great up until earlier this last year, because I've been very lucky. I've seen some really good specialists, and I've had good treatment and the medications compared to a lot of people who have to struggle. But all the tests that I was told in hospital, my gastro doctor who I saw there said, oh, you'll have them in a matter of weeks. I only heard from one of the 5 tests I was supposed to have. And so I had to chase every single department. And when I phoned, they were like, yeah, we can book that now for you. And I thought, if I hadn't have phoned up to ask if I can get my appointment date booked in, then I'll be waiting for months, if not forever, because they don't remember. So I've now got my next Tuesday I've got my CT scan on my sinuses and my neck. Then the following week I have next week I have a flexi-sigmoidoscopy on my bowel, my small bowel, because my stomach problems are still ongoing. Everything I eat I get diarrhea and pain, and there's no answer as to why. So I have that on Tuesday coming up. Then the following Tuesday, and then the Friday, I have a new POTS doctor, who quite a lot of you who watch this who have POTS will know, Dr. Gall. I'm seeing him for the second time. I saw him in his private clinic a year ago, and I've been on the waiting list. He has a 12-month waiting list basically, and I got my appointment through in the summer of last year for this one. So I go on Friday, next Friday, to see him. He's amazing. He was a breath of fresh air, because I've been under Queen Square for 10 years nearly, and they've just like washing their hands of me, saying there's nothing more we can do. We've tried everything. They're refusing to put me back on the midodrine, which I only came off for a trial to see the difference between being on it and not being on it. And I've gone from being able to stand up for 10 minutes and do physio to not be able to stand up at all for more than like a minute, and become very deconditioned from it. So hopefully they can, Dr. Gall has already said he wants me back on the midodrine, but my GP has ignored his letters. So that's another battle I have to try and fight when I've got the strength and energy to do that. So Dr. Gould's got loads of new ideas. From when I saw him last, he had all these tests. He said, have you had these tests? And I was like, no, I've never even heard of them. And he said they're the most basic tests. And he said that ideally when you have POTS, you should be under a neurologist and a cardiologist, because they both have different approaches, different treatments, different tests. And POTS is not just neurological, it's cardiology as well. So I'd be really, really happy to be under his care. And then the following week, I have the scan that I mentioned on my face and neck. And then 4 days later, I have my lip biopsy for testing for Sjögren's. Finally, I will find out if I have Sjögren's syndrome or not. In a way, I hope it's positive, because then they can treat it, because having all these terrible weird things, like you can see I've got spots on here, they're not acne spots, they're very, very painful lumps. And I've been getting oral thrush and mouth ulcers, and my eyes are stinging all the time and dry. And I use Hyalofort, which is for my dry eyes. I use biotin for my mouth. And then I've also trying to just reach, this is what I take for the oral thrush, Nystan. You know, I'm kind of gathering medications, and I seem to be on more and more things as time goes on. And the idea was to come off more and more things, because me and Adam wanted to start a family. But the amount of medications I take, it seems like it could be fairly impossible to come off everything. So yeah. And yeah, so I literally my stomach is bad. Like today, I haven't even eaten anything yet, and I've already had terrible diarrhea. I don't know if that's from yesterday's food that I had. We had just some turkey, tiny little bits of turkey, stir-fried with some rice noodles, and I was very bloated after that. And usually I'll be fine. My list of foods is very short now that I can eat safely, even though sometimes cause diarrhea. So we are looking into it. But I have got this flexi sigmoidoscopy coming up soon. And then towards the end of March, I've got an MRI on my small bowel, which I think they're doing contrast for. And then in April, at the end of April, so quite a long time away, I'm having, I don't know what it's called, but it's in nuclear medicine. It's like an isotope bowel transit study or something. You go in one day for 7 hours, which is crazy. You're given a meal, and then they scan you. This is what I had last November, but they scan you every half an hour for 10 minutes. But last time I was like every hour for 5 minutes. And then you have to go back for 3 days after the huge long day in hospital, just for 10 minutes to be scanned, because you're given these radioactive capsules, and they track the transit of them in through your bowels, and hopefully it's going to show why my bowels are just completely misbehaving. And I know it started because of the damage that the opiates have done. My EDS doctor agreed with my gastro doctor that I should never have been put on Oromorph or anything like that, because it's done damage to my bowel with the constipation and overflow diarrhea and everything else it's done. So it's tough. And my doctor is actually Dr. Cohen, who a lot of you know. She's an amazing doctor, and I'll never not say she's amazing. But one thing that surprised me is that she's very against cannabis use in EDS. She said it could get very out of control, which I can see her point in that. They'd have to be very, very strict on the rules of who could have it and who couldn't. But also she's very much against any surgery for CCI or Chiari. I have quite a few lovely friends who've been to Barcelona and had the surgery because their lives have been at risk. And she's saying that she doesn't agree with any of that because there's no evidence that it helps. She says that once you're fused, that's it. You can't move your neck for the rest of your life. And then subsequently the rest of your joints will suffer from it, and you'll need further surgery, and you just keep needing more and more surgery. And I was really shocked because the problems I'm having with my neck, I don't know what it is. She couldn't tell either, but I was just like, I'm fully supportive of people who have surgery. So Yeah, sorry, I just realised my cat's jumping over to come and see me because she wants her food. Don't you, Alice? So yeah, she felt my neck and she said it's very tight. She went to very specific places very quickly. So does it hurt here? Does it hurt there? And I said, yes, that's the worst points. She goes, yes, that makes sense. So I was none the wiser, but she said it's an EDS thing. It's a very normal place to get pain. I just need to do physio and put heat on it and use it. And if I need to use my soft collar, not to use it often, which I don't. I literally use my collar, which is here. This one, I use it for car journeys and going out in my chair because pavements are very bumpy and my neck jars and it hurts. But it's a special soft foam, memory foam one, so it's lower at the back with Velcro and then it's higher at the front like that. And I just bought it online from Physio Room, which I think is a great website, because they do everything on there. So that's my update really. I'm still fighting to get my paracetamol suspension on prescription. I don't know if any of you, if you could comment below if you've had any experience of that. I'm having trouble getting it prescribed. A lot of people have told me they do have problems, but I was kind of hoping that, you know, I've got enough evidence for me trialing it and it working. At first they were like, oh, it's a placebo effect, but I'm like, it definitely isn't, because I was admitted to hospital wanting them to put me to sleep to die because my pain was that bad, and now I'm like happy and fine and my pain has gone down, but this swelling is worrying because they don't know what it is and it feels quite lumpy around here and I don't know. But please remember to subscribe to this channel to get more information. I'm going to be doing some more videos on EDS and POTS, and especially mast cell, in the next couple of weeks, and get the notification bell icon to get notified when I post new videos, and hopefully I shall do another video very soon. And thank you for watching, everyone. Bye.